Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wilson Builds. If you're new here, I'm Zach. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode, we're focusing on the 1948 Mercury pickup. And this is going to be an exciting episode because one, we find the super rare Mercury-only trim for the front, which finishes off the truck. And two, we get it running. So stay tuned. Hopefully you enjoy the video. If you do, don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe as it really helps grow the channel. All right, let's get into the video. As I mentioned, our job list is actually getting very small. There's a couple pieces that are hindering us to finish. For example, the fender trim, the front lights, and the front piece of trim that would go right here. However, we have found that. And I've been searching for it since I bought the truck almost 2 years ago now. And turns out my friend had a pair in an old farm truck that sits on his property as lawn art. So we're gonna go over there today and pull it all off and hopefully get it all on. I haven't seen the truck up close. I just know it's the same truck, and from the pictures, it looks like all the stuff we need. So we'll go there now. Bring it home, clean it up, put it on. All right, so we got more than I expected. I got every piece I need, including the little horn retention cap here, the horn button, which we already had one, but it was kind of broken. A pedal for our brake assembly. We got the front Mercury badge, light bezels, lights with lenses, radio cover, and the super rare Mercury fender trim. I shouldn't say it's super rare because it is out there, and I've seen good deals on it, and I've seen it also for outrageous money as well. But pretty decent set. It's kind of beat up, but for what we're doing, it's perfect. So if Barry, if you're watching this, again, thank you very much for allowing me to pick these pieces off the truck. So I'm gonna start cleaning these. SOS pad, I think that's about it. See how clean I can get them. Obviously, some of this is beyond saving. However, it's perfect for this truck. So let's get the SOS pads out and start scrubbing. Okay, we have both our brackets for our marker lights ready to go. I'm gonna have to drill two out on this. There's two broken bolts on this, only one on this side, so not a huge deal. I'm also gonna go get these sandblasted a little later today, so it's just nice to work on. We can put a coat of black on them and kind of set and forget. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is, instead of the typical kind of screw-in bulb setup here that would go in the back with all this extra spring and bracketry and stuff like that, I'm gonna go put a little flat bracket here so I can drill another hole here, and that's for these little LEDs that have the grommets on them. So this will sit sort of like that in there, if I can hold that, just like that. And the nice thing about these LEDs, they're not too bright, and once the glass is on, can't even tell that's in there. Again, it might be a little bit brighter and you'll see a little bit of the orange poking out there. However, it'll be better, easier to wire. And I don't know where I would find these. So, saves me searching. I'm gonna go into the interior now, and I'll worry about the brackets and everything else later, because the trim and everything else is on the outside of the car. So if I can get the stuff on the interior done first, I would like that. So we're gonna put the horn button in now because we have our bracket to hold it in, and put our radio cover in. So I have to paint this the same color as the speaker cover that would go just below here. And it does have a crack, as you can see. However, I'm not too picky about that. These are really hard to find good, and if I started fixing it, it might make it worse, and then I'm SOL. So get the horn button on, paint, while this is drying, I guess we should paint this first so we're not wasting time. So paint, horn button on, and then we can install this. So I'm just Scotch Brighting the radio cover right now so it has a little bit better of adhesion. However, it's kind of rough for sitting for a while and us scrubbing it to get all the debris off of it from it sitting. I mean, the truck's been sitting, the license plate said 76 on it. So if that's true, it's been off the road for what? 86, 96, 2006, 2016, almost 50 years. Yes, I have to count on my fingers. Don't make fun of me. I'm going to attempt to glue this broken lens. Is it the best fix? Nope. Is it easy to find another one of these? Nope. So this will do. That looks way better. I mean, at face value, you're not even going to notice that. All right, so sandblasted our light mounts, and while we were at the sandblaster, I stopped off at LG Speed and Custom, and he was able to plasma cut me out some of these little brackets we kind of made up. And I'm gonna just tack them on here, so it's sort of like that, and that will allow us to put our little LED in our rubber grommet. So I'm gonna get going on that. We're gonna have to drill out these guys. I might not drill out that one. I think I'm going to do it all just for continuity, but drill these out, put new bolts here, tack weld them on there. Is it on this one? No, this one. There's a broken bolt there and in there, so we're going to have to also deal with that, but not a big deal. So first things first, I'm going to get these prepped up, welded, and then we can test fit our lights, and then we can start drilling out these ones. And I got, where are them? New bolts, new hardware, so these should work out pretty decently. All right, we have that all done now. So we have to drill our broken studs out and then get our little pieces out that broke as well. And then we can paint these and put the lights back together. All right, so we bolted our bracket in. Originally, my idea was to weld these, so it's just super simple, and we only have to put a nut on the back. However, I've kind of thought of against it because this is super easy. The lens comes off really easy anyways. So realistically, I mean, it's just gonna be just as easy to take the lens off, put an Allen key in here, and take the nuts off the back. So we're gonna leave it like this. I was thinking though, because these only have two wires, a ground and a positive, we're not gonna be able to do running lights and turning signals. So until I can get one with 3 wires, I'm just gonna do turning signals. I prefer not having running lights on the front anyways, because the headlight's right here, it's kind of redundant. So we'll just hook up the turning signal for now and it'll be totally fine. So we can get rid of these 2 wires, I believe. I believe the yellow ones I've set up for turning signal. So let's get that all wired up. I've already put the light in this one so you can see how it sits in there, and should be really good. I mean, these aren't crazy bright, which is nice, like I've said before, but they should get the job done. So yeah, super happy with that. So let's get the, well, I guess figure out which wire is the turning signal wire, and then we'll go from there. So I believe the yellow ones are our turning signal, so I'm just gonna get this. It should ground off the fender, I think, yeah. So that is our, I think that's for the passenger side. Yeah, this is the driver's side. So passenger side works. And how are we looking for the driver's side here? Also works. Perfect. And that's not too bright, which is nice. So let's get this all wired up and we'll get the lenses back on. All right, so wiring is finished. I really wish I could put it back together. However, we didn't paint these ahead of time, so we just painted them right now. So I'm gonna go put them on top of the heater so they dry faster. So hopefully within an hour, maybe an hour and a half, we can start putting these back together. But in the meantime, we can start working on our trim because we have to make some fasteners and bolt it to the fender. And a couple other little things, wire organization and so on and so forth before we can actually try to start this thing. So let's go make sure these are in a warm spot so they dry. All right, bracket is dry, so we can connect these now. Put our shrink wrap over. Okay. Now we gotta be exumably careful with this guy, putting it on. I believe the eyeball, as you can see, it's a little off center. I believe it goes down, but this is gonna get very annoying to do. So let's get very technical and very careful with doing this. All right, so I just put some double-sided foam tape on the lens, and I was looking a little deeper into what way this goes, and it is up. So we had it wrong down because I believe the light is a little bit offset up, so whatever. However, this should work pretty good. So we'll go do it on the other side here in a sec, but we'll get this all back together now and lined up. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with how it looks. We'll obviously have to line up the trim a little bit more, but that will come a little later. I just wanted to mock it up and show you guys. All right, we're gonna start installing the trim now. So I was at Lee Grant's place earlier today and he showed me these little retention clips. So it's spring loaded up here, threaded on the back side. And essentially, because the trim has two lips, you can slide the retention clip in here like that, and it goes in pretty easily. If you want to add a little bit more tension, you just pull that up like that and put it in like that. Makes it super simple. So we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to this side, get it installed, and then hopefully around 7 on the other side. Let's turn our hazards on. We got all the trim on, even the decals on the side here. Looking pretty good. I even put a 1949 British Columbia truck plate on there. I know it's a 48, but it looks cool nonetheless. But it sure looks complete now. Let me drop that hood real quick. All right, so at the beginning of the video, I obviously said I want to get everything done in one day. However, I got very sidetracked. I started pulling apart my gas pump, and then my gas pump was in the way of everything. So we ended up restoring the gas pump. I still need a globe and a hose for the handle, but oh well. I mean, the gas pump looks pretty awesome for what we did. We did a budget restore, and it only took, I don't know, couple days. I mean, obviously we had to sandblast, polish, get some other stuff done, but it's done. We have to order the globe and that's it. So we're back on the Mercury. I want to get our throttle in. This is a Performance World throttle from Gas Classics, cut to fit, which is really good. So, I mean, you just buy the generic size and you take a snip of this, take a snip of the cable, put the eyelet back on. and then make it work. So we're gonna put this in. I love Performance World stuff. I mean, I'm not sponsored by any means, but I mean, it's very affordable. I haven't had any issues, and I've used a very wide range of what they have to offer, and I haven't had a single issue on anything thus far. So we're gonna get this in. I think we have to drill a hole. We have to attach one side to our gas pedal, of course, and then we'll drill, mount, and then we can cut this to size and hopefully get our throttle working. All right, so first things first, I just like putting our throttle cable, little retention clip on our throttle. If it goes through here, there she goes. And then I just like holding it up. So I pull it all the way up like this until it touches the firewall. If it gives us a good standby here. There we are. And then I just make a little reference mark. Like so. And then with our mark there, we know where to drill. And that will give us the kind of most direct route we need for our throttle. So when we thread in our little connection piece from the engine bay side, it will come in here and it won't be on a weird angle pulling it down. It will be a straight pull to the firewall. So now that we have the hole drilled for here, we're gonna have to take the cable out. So right here, there's a little Allen key. Is that small enough, or do I have to get smaller? Should be good, I think. Yeah, there we go. Comes off like that. Pull this through. Perfect. And then this side will go into our firewall. So we can add that in now. And then we have to figure out the length of this up to the carburetor. And we can cut this down. This all comes apart. And you just snip it, put the end back on. Alrighty, so I'm just cleaning up our hole. Perfect. If you don't have one of these, they're really handy for drilling. So I'll get that in there. Oops. Put it on a bit angle. I'm just gonna try to get in there and tighten it down. All right, so as you can see, we have way too much cable. I mean, we have to go into here because it then holds it. So, how much can we cut this thing? Without, I don't want to do too much, but I don't want to have a big S in here. I want it to look very clean. And we have to compensate for this guy as well. So let's, I know sometimes I've used washers in this scenario because it has to go on this little bracket here. Is it gonna fit? No, we're definitely gonna need a washer. I'll be right back. And this will just give us a good idea of where we need to cut our line so we don't cut it too long. However, it's better to cut it long and then cut it short. So I have to really measure 5 times, cut once. So that's gonna work. Obviously we have some back and forth on the bracket itself, as you see. But again, we don't want a big S like that. We just want it to nice flow in there. Probably go underneath this, but it doesn't matter right now. All right, throttle is working. It's not coming out. Seems to be in the right place. However, we're gonna have to tighten this. So 2 Phillips screws there, 5/16 on that side. Pushes back as much as we can. And then we'll go test the throttle, I guess. I don't think there's anything else we have to do. Just make this a lot tighter. All right, first test. I can see it just through the crack of the window here. right, it's not going full throttle, which is fine. I don't think we have to adjust this. We might have to put a block underneath the gas pedal just to raise it up. I had to do that in the Roadster. It's not a big deal. That should do it. So I'm just going to cut a little piece of metal, and it'll give us just that little bit extra. I think it goes to about there. It'll give us that little bit of extra pull, closing this and allowing us to go full throttle. So little block, not a big deal, and then should work. All right. 2 spacers, done. The reason I made 2 is because if 2 is too wide, we can just go down to 1. I'm pretty sure from the measurement I did, the 2 is going to be just fine. It's also going to allow the gas pedal to come out a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit more comfy for the driver. So let's try these in there, see if the throttle works. If it does, perfect. If not, we'll have to take 1 spacer out, put 1 in, and just kind of fiddle with it around. However, let's get these in. All right, so both spacers are in. This is tight. Let's see if we get full throttle. Yep, looks like we're getting full throttle now. All right, so we're going through a little bit of a heat wave here in Victoria, so I changed it to some clothes where I'm not going to die of heat exhaustion here. However, I think we're ready to push this thing out, fill the radiator full of water, and try to start it. I haven't hooked up the alternator yet because it is the weekend and I don't have any wiring for the alternator, but it will still run either way, and then we'll just throw the battery on the charger. Fingers crossed it does start. The motor ran perfectly when we tried it down at Gas Classics a couple videos prior, and I think we have everything hooked up appropriately. We have a little bit of fluid in the transmission, enough where it's not going to do anything to it majorly. Our torque converter is full. We don't have the shifter linkage hooked up yet, but that will come sooner than later, and that won't stop us from starting it. So let's get the garage open, push this out, fill it with some water, and yeah, see what happens. That'll get us going for now. Mind you, I think there's probably still some water in the motor too from when we started it. So let's put a little bit of gas in and see if we get a little bit of bark. All right, power is on. Let's turn our fuel pump on. All right, we have fuel pressure. Are we getting fuel to the carburetor? Possibly. Let's see. Adding a little bit of fuel. Nice. Fucking sounds really cool. Yeah. All right, so it worked when we poured fuel down the hatch. So let's try that again. And we'll try to turn the fuel pump on while it has fuel in there. Weird. I think our carburetor might be gummed up because it's not getting fuel. It sounds pretty good when it starts, so let's get a little bit more gas down the pipe and then see what happens. Everything else seems to be working fine. It sounds pretty mean as well. We're just gonna try the fuel here again. No, we're not getting any fuel. All right, I just poured the last little bit of gas down there. See if we can get it running for a few seconds so you guys can hear the exhaust. However, I think the carb might be gummed up, so I might have to just take the top part of it off and see if anything is blocking the gas passageway. But I guess we'll see. We'll see if we can get an exhaust note for you guys here. That sounds amazing. I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, but that's a nice sound. So we're gonna pull it back in, take the carburetor off. I might have another carburetor, maybe, I'm not sure. And then we'll try to get running again. But it's getting fuel pressure up to the fuel pressure regulator, and then I can see it coming into the carburetor. However, something is just not adding up. So either we didn't clean the carburetor good enough when we did a rebuild, or there's a gummed line, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. And I mean, it's running. The seconds it does run, it is running pretty good. So a little bit of tuning, a little bit of play, and this should be running pretty good. So yeah, let's push this back in, see what we got to get going. Just gonna get my fuel line into a bottle and just see if we are getting fuel. I think we are, because it was wet, but I just want to see how much is actually pumping. Oh yeah, we're getting tons of fuel. All right, that's how much fuel we got with that little blip of the switch. Are we getting too much fuel? Maybe, but I mean, it would still come up through the carb when we hit the accelerator. So I mean, it could be a plethora of things. Could be the accelerator pump. It could be one of the feed lines is clogged. But we know, come on, my hands are gonna smell like gas, and I hate my hands smelling like gas. We know that we are getting fuel to here. So somewhere in here, something is not working. So I'm just trying to think of what we should do. I do have another carburetor in storage, not here, so we could put that on tomorrow and see what happens. Yeah, let's do that before we start pulling this apart, because this is a very old carburetor. Came on a donor van I bought to pull a motor, and I just got it hydroblasted and then rebuilt it. But clearly, there is something funny happening within the mechanics of this. So let's put the new carburetor on tomorrow, and then we'll go from there, because it should just hypothetically fire up. And I was pretty, impressed with the couple seconds we got out of it. So yeah, and we have to wire the alternator and a couple other little things, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, let's just do that, plain and simple. And I'm gonna take a break for the rest of the day today, because it is
very, very hot. And then yeah, we'll see how it works tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day. Let's get this carb off. All right, so here's our carbs. This is a 1406, this is a 1405. I believe the 1405, the only difference is it's more meant for like a hot rod application, where this is kind of more a fuel economy. I'm not too sure. However, they're relatively the exact same. We're gonna put this one together. Again, I have to rob a couple little pieces off it. Linkage for the accelerator pump, choke, stuff like that. Then we'll put this guy on. Hopefully it works. Fuel pump on. Sounds very loud right now. Are we getting fuel pressure? Yes, we're getting great fuel pressure. I don't know if the floats will be high enough yet to get gasoline. I don't know if I can see it from down there either. Oh yeah, we're getting gas. There it is, squirting down there. So let's try to start it. All right, I'm gonna do a quick little zip in the garage just to see if it'll turn over. If we get any gas, of course. Let's try this again. There's already fuel in the bowls, so I'm going to try to start it like this. Oil pressure is good. Running pretty good on the tack. All right, so Mercury is running and pretty good, I might add. It has a little bit of hesitation on startup, but if I really give it gas, it starts up. So clearly there's a little bit of tuning to do. It might be getting not enough gas. The mixture might be a little off. However, it's going to be an easy fix, but really happy with it. I mean, it runs really good when it is running. It's sharp. The gas, there's no hesitation. There's no weird bogs. So I think we're almost ready to take it on our first test drive, which is going to be really exciting. I still have to get a brake pedal, but that is about it. So I'm going to call the video there, only because I feel like this might be getting a little long, but I'm really happy with it running, with everything we did in this video. Hopefully you guys are as well. If you could like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notifications button so you know when we're uploading, that is greatly appreciated. There's going to be a bit more content on the Mercury before we get it going. Maybe drive it in the next video. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of little things to do, wire cleanup, stuff like that. The usual kind of end of a build cleanup, I should say. But I'm really excited where this got to today, and I'm beyond stoked to share it with you guys. So We will see you on the next video of Wilson Builds, whether it be the Mercury or the Roadster or what have you. But thanks again for tuning in.